Hi there, I'm Cherise Fisher. I'm the principal of The Scribe's Window, a book development company, and I'm here with Petra Lewis, the author of The Sons and Daughters of Ham.
The center of that world is that Caribbean place, but you end up in Barbados, you're going to end up in Big Sur in California in book two. You end up in in Harlem, you end up in Brooklyn. You're all over the place. So it really is a very diverse. And I want.
So how do you combine your love of food with your love for literature?
Well, you see their food definitely plays a role in this book. I mean, it's very rich. It gets very detailed. I mean, about the color and the smell and the aroma. And that's often part of the ethnic experience, too, in particular. I mean, I'm from Trinidad, and you see that. And so that's very... I hate to say, but very common in a lot of novels where people are trying to explain their culture to people. Food is a very easy way in which to disseminate that.
How long have you actually been working on the novel? What maintained your enthusiasm for the project through the ups and downs, through the years, the months?
Definitely. I think what people have been so encouraging. I'll bump into people at the co-op, Park Slope Food Co-op, and they'll say, hey, what's going on with the book? So people have been fantastic. The other thing, too, is that in writing this book, I actually interviewed parents who had lost their children to really get a feel for what that grief is. Right. And long after, I was past being, some kind of literary, phenom. I'm way past that at my age. It was the parents.
No, you're never. It's never too late.
It was the parents. I kept saying, but I mean, in terms of age, where
right.
somebody, yeah. But it was the parents. I kept saying, I have to do this for the parents.
Yes.
They took their time. These are people who never spoke to people about their child's death, and they spoke to me. They let me into their homes, and I'm like, I can't let them down. I have to write this book. But the funny thing is, the book, yes, it does deal with the grief, but there's a lot of humor in it. There are a lot of very interesting characters, a lot of, some of them are a real piece of work, and I would like to think it's highly enjoyable and entertaining.
So what authors influenced you while you were writing this book, and how do you think that influence manifested itself?
I think we need to start not with just while writing the book, but the author who influenced me, which was Toni Morrison. And I read The Blue Sky when I think I was like between 7 and 9 years old.
Me too. Yeah. And didn't you feel like you were absolutely too young to have read it? I had no idea what I was reading.
But you were totally blown away.
I was blown away, but I didn't know what was happening.
Blown away.
Yes.
And I was just like, I want to be a writer.
Wow.
That made
From
me
when you were
write.
7, 8.
Yeah, somewhere between 7 and 9.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, and but while I was writing the book, Gabriel Garcia Marquez continues to be one of my absolute favorite authors, just because of the complexity of his work. But at the end, it's all wrapped up with a neat little bow, which is incredible to me. And the other person is Raymond Carver.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, even though Carver is so spare, so I go between the lush and the spare.
Because Gabriel Garcia Marquez and Raymond Carver are probably on the two opposite sides of the spectrum.
But you know what? I have a polarized personality, so that kind of...
Are you a Gemini?
Scorpio.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so but it was just like after one lush scene, you don't want the purple prose. The Carver in me reined it back, and so it was just very staccato, and you would have this dialogue where it really just kind of got to the point of what needed to be said. So it was between those two.
So you think that it's manifested itself, those influences manifested itself in the novel by you sort of alternating between those two feelings?
Yeah, and I also just liked experimenting in the novel. It was just really fun to experiment with language. All right, we're the geeky lit girls. The lit girls get like, oh.